Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all well today. So we are looking at reading today, and we're looking at understanding organisational features in text. So let's get started. So our aims and outcomes today. By the end of this session, you must understand what the purpose of a text means, provide a clear explanation of the purpose of a text, use a range of language features and devices. You should identify a range of presentation features, bullet points, titles, headings, images, and so on. Explain why presentation features are used in a text. You could identify use of pronouns, positive and negative language, and comparisons to underlie meaning, and identify alliteration, similes, and metaphors. So what are we talking about when we talk about a text? So the term a text, in the context of our functional skills reading, doesn't mean a text message. Here, it means any printed or written document. So the examples or the material that you're given in the assessment are referred to as a text, and they could be, some examples, a letter, an email, a book, a form, a leaflet, an article, a notice. So there's some examples. So we're referring to a printed or written document. The purpose of a text. So all texts have a purpose, and these are the common ones. So they are usually to persuade, to persuade the reader to use green electricity. To describe how green electricity works. To instruct, so to tell the reader how to apply for green electricity. To explain, so to explain why green electricity is good for consumers. To inform readers about the need for green electricity. To argue, so to argue that green electricity is a waste of money. To advise the reader of the benefits of green electricity. So you can see we're sticking to one topic there, green electricity, and how the purpose of the text can differ even though the topic might be the same. So these are general purpose, but you need to be specific about the purpose with regard to the content of the text. So if you're asked about the purpose, you need to be specific, referring to points in the text. So in your reading skills exam, you'll be asked to identify the main purpose of a text. So it might have more than one purpose, but you need to focus on the main one. So do make sure you focus on the main purpose, not secondary ones, and give a full explanation. Don't just write to persuade or to advise. So you won't get marks just for writing that, for writing simply the purpose. You need to give more information, right? But also the other side of that is don't just write about what the content is. You need to do both. So what is the purpose? To persuade, and then you need to give some examples of the content, either with quotes or paraphrasing. So how to work out the purpose of the text? You need to look at the type of text it is. So think about, is it a leaflet, an email, an article, and so on. Its content. So look at the sentence structure, the style, and the vocabulary that has been used. We also need to look at the format. How is it presented? How has the text been structured? And who is it written for? What's the intended audience of the text? So you need to look at all of those things to work out the purpose. Any questions so far? Okay, so we're going to look at a video.
Persuasive texts.
Recognizing different types of texts by the language and structure they use is useful not only to recognize what kind of text you're reading, it's also helpful to have this knowledge when writing a specific type of text.
Examples:
advertisements, political pamphlets. They are often quite short texts and may contain texts directed to the reader personally.
Why not try our bonfire cake? It's a wonderful new cake baked to perfection and using only the highest quality ingredients. The traditional recipe uses sticky treacle, moist brown sugar, the freshest free-range eggs, healthy whole grain flour and freshly ground spices. This delicious cake is food for the gods. However, it's cheap enough for us mere mortals to enjoy every week.
Overall, we get the impression that the text is being directed to us personally. Descriptions, full use of adjectives and adverbs.
Wonderful, new, traditional, sticky, moist, brown, free range, freshly ground, delicious, mere.
Persuasive language and vocabulary, for example, superlative adjectives, overemphasis and exaggeration.
Baked to perfection, highest quality, freshest, healthy, food for the gods.
Reasoning connectives, for example,
Therefore, however.
Rhetorical questions.
Why not try our bonfire cake?
Images or pictures.
Okay. Okay, any questions about the video? Okay, we have another video to watch, so if you just bear with me, I'll put that on for you. And this one is about language features.
Writers use language features to achieve effects and influence readers. A text from a charity trying to persuade the reader to make a donation would use persuasive language. The use of rhetorical questions to make the reader stop and think. You wouldn't walk past an animal in pain and do nothing, would you? The use of the personal pronoun you to address the reader individually. And the use of emotional language to make the reader sympathetic or guilty. Writers also use creative language to make the texts they write more engaging to the reader. Creative language can create images in the reader's head, and therefore they become more involved in the story. Examples:
The creative use of verbs. Consider the following sentence. The team of climbers walked down the mountain. Walked isn't a particularly interesting verb, but if you substitute it for snaked, you get a far more evocative sentence. The team of climbers snaked down the mountain. As a reader, you now get an image of the climbers weaving their way down the hill.
Similes compare something with something else using the words like or as. He was as tall as a tree. This creates the image of a really tall person, but is far more interesting than just saying he was very tall.
Metaphor makes a comparison between two seemingly different or unlikely words or phrases. I'm in a sea of trouble. This metaphor creates an image of someone stranded at sea. We know seas are vast, so this means a lot of trouble. But it's a much more interesting way of saying it.
Hyperbole is exaggeration. Persuasive texts, such as adverts, use it a lot to get you to buy their products. Our drink will give you wings. It's also used creatively for humorous effect, and also to create strong feelings like anger or love. I cried a river over you.
Alliteration is the grouping of words that all start with the same consonant letter, creating an interesting rhythmic effect. Alliteration is frequently used in newspaper headlines to grab a reader's attention. Jolly japes in June.
An oxymoron is when two contrasting words or ideas appear next to each other. They have the effect of making the reader stop and think, and they're often used in attention-grabbing film or book titles.
An onomatopoeia is a word that sounds like its meaning, and is a good way of bringing life to a creative text. Martin splashed in the puddles.
Personification attaches human attributes or skills to an object or thing. The tree danced in the breeze. This is another example of using a verb creatively. You could write, the tree swayed in the breeze, but danced is a more interesting image.
Next time you read a persuasive or creative text, be aware of the language features that the writer uses. Words can be powerful. They can influence opinions, and they can also create vibrant and engaging images.
Okay, any questions about either of those videos? Okay, so we're going to look a bit more at some of those things that were featured in the videos. So we heard about most of these in the videos, language features and devices. So you might be asked to identify language features that have been used and how they are used to convey meaning. And we've got a list of examples there. Most of these have been highlighted, explained in the videos. Are there any of those that people don't recognise yet or have any questions about? So you need to read through the list on your screen.
I don't understand about cliche.
Cliche, okay, yeah. So a cliche is an overused phrase that has lost its impact, really. So an example might be something like plenty more fish in the sea. Okay, have you heard that phrase before? So if someone breaks up with their partner, someone might try and console them saying, don't worry, there's plenty more fish in the sea. So it's kind of saying to them, you'll find someone else. That phrase, it could originally have sounded very clever, but it's now so overused that it kind of loses its impact. Another example might be think outside the box. So again, a phrase that at one time might have sounded very creative and clever, but now has lost its impact because it's been so overused. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions about that? Okay, I'm not going to read out the list to you because we're going to look at these anyway as we move on. So alliteration. So alliteration is where the first sound in a word is repeated across a number of consecutive words. So it's not always the letter, as you'll see in one of these examples, it's the sound at the start of the word. So some examples: simply sensational suits, funky, flexible phone plans. So you can see in that example, it's the F sound, the F sound, not the actual spelling. So alliteration is about the sound rather than how it looks on the page. So funky, flexible phone plans. Lovely, long limousine. So it's often used in advertising to grab people's attention. So as you can see there, simply sensational suits, an advert for a menswear store, and funky flexible phone plans, a mobile phone shop or business. So I want you to think of another example of alliteration, and then I will take some suggestions. So whenever you're ready, you can let us know your suggestion.
Yeah, can I try?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
How about Mary met the mighty man?
So Mary
Met the mighty man.
Mary met the mighty man. Excellent. Yes. Well done. Any others?
Yeah.
Go on.
Peter Piper picked.
Excellent. So that's a really good example from a children's rhyme, Peter Piper picked. So we do often see alliteration. I'm glad you've said that one, because another place where we often see alliteration is in poetry, in rhymes. So well done. Okay, let's move on. Cliches. So these are overused sayings or words, as I've already mentioned. So got some more examples there. Over the moon, frightened to death, every cloud has a silver lining. So can anyone think of any other examples of cliches that they might have heard? So one we hear a lot in conversation: at the end of the day. Or the examples I gave previously, there's plenty more fish in the sea. Okay, so it's a bit trickier to think of examples because you're not going to think of your own. You can't really come up with your own example.
Can I try?
Yeah, go on.
Something like there are many churches besides St. George's.
There are, sorry, could you repeat that, please?
There are many churches besides St. George's.
There are many churches besides St. George's.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that one you've heard before?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it may be that what would be a cliche to one person, it might be something they've heard a lot. I've not heard that one, but that's not to say that's not a cliche that other people will recognise. So it's just an overused saying or phrase. So thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah,
At the end of the day.
at the end of the day. Good. Well done. So command. So these are sentences that use the imperative verb form of the verb to give a direction. Most command sentences begin with a verb and the you is understood. So we don't have the you in the sentence, but that's understood that that's what is meant. They're sometimes followed by an exclamation mark. So most sentences that begin with a verb will be a command. So we've got some examples here. Get out. Give me your phone number. Buy today, pay tomorrow. Put the shirt in the washing machine. Okay, so you can see all of those start with a verb. Pardon? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that one. So any examples?
Close the door.
Excellent. Close the door.
Sit down.
Excellent.
Go
Sit down.
away.
Go away. Good. Really good examples. Well done. So sometimes they are used in conversation or less conversation, more giving instructions to people. And often we will see them in a text used in, again, in advertising. So buy today, pay tomorrow, act now to get this deal. Okay, so well done, some good examples. Direct address is where the second person or you or the person's name is used to speak directly to the reader. From the moment you step through the door, you can't help but relax. You've got to see it to believe it. You're going to love our new menu. Can anyone give us any other examples using direct address?
How about my house is breathtaking?
So that's a good sentence, but we're looking in direct address. It's directed to another person, as if you're speaking to directly to them. So rather than saying my, you would use you. So in the example you've given, it would change to, you will find my house breathtaking. So you're addressing it, you're directly addressing it to another person.
You are welcome to my house.
Yeah, you are welcome to my house. Okay, so often we'll start with the word you or you've or your, but sometimes it is within the sentence itself. Sometimes you might have seen examples of this. If you get marketing emails or mailings where they have tailored it to each person's name. So I might receive an email that says, Catherine, you are going to love our new deals. So sometimes it will go a bit further and directly use the person's name. Okay, so why do you think direct address would be used? So, for example, an advertiser or a marketer, why would they want to use you or the person's name in their text?
To persuade to the person.
Yeah, to add another level of persuasion, to engage them, to make you feel that they're speaking directly to you. Good, well done. So the use of personal pronouns. So this is very similar to direct address. They're used to create a sense of connection or disconnection. So in a positive sense, they'd be used similarly to the direct address, but not when we're talking about disconnection. So they can be used positively and negatively, and sometimes they convey bias. So some examples. This is my chance to shine. Okay, so we've got the personal pronoun my in there. But if we look at the next sentence, the personal pronoun has been used in a negative way. The running of the power plant was their responsibility and nobody else's. So it's in this sense, it's used to apportion responsibility. The person writing this doesn't want to claim any responsibility for running the power plant. It's their responsibility. Okay. This is your future they are talking about. So we don't know the context there, whether that's positive or negative. It could be used in the sense of talking about a young person and what they're going to study, what qualifications they'll need to go on to further study. It could be about climate change and about the steps people should take. This is your future they are talking about. But all of those is to create this sense of connection or disconnection. Okay, so can anyone give another example using personal pronouns? So you, my, their, we, and so on.
Yep. They want to help you out.
Good. We want to help you out. Good.
This is for your own good.
Good. Excellent. This is for your own good.
It is
Well,
not your responsibility.
it is not your responsibility. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yes. Good. It is not your responsibility. Good. Well done. Some good examples there. Okay. Direct speech is a quotation of what somebody says using speech marks. It's an amazing invention, said the entrepreneur. The company claimed to offer the fastest service in town. You can tell the writer is doubtful, as he says, if you can believe what they say. So it can be a quotation of what someone has said out loud, such as the first example. It's an amazing invention, said the entrepreneur. But it could be what a company or individual has said in a text. So they've said it, but their words are written down. So in the second and the third example, it's a quote of what someone has said in print, in the text. The fastest service in town. So that would be on somebody's website, a company's website, or in their advertising material. So can you think of another example? So it's just a case of any speech, really. So if I write an example. It was a great match, the boy said. Okay. Something to know about speech marks, or sometimes they're called inverted commas or quotation marks, but it's the same thing. Sometimes they are used to add sarcasm or derision. Okay, so if we look at this sentence in the purple box, the mansion, which is in quotation marks, Paul claimed to live in, was nothing more than a 2-bedroom terrace. So Paul has told people he lives in a mansion, and somebody's seen his house. They've seen it's not a mansion, it's a 2-bedroom terrace. So they are being sarcastic or deriding his claims by putting the word mansion in inverted commas. Okay, any questions about that? Okay. So emotive language. This is when the writer uses language to try to get an emotional reaction from the reader. So in the video that we watched, we saw an advertisement for an animal charity, and the emotive language was used to make a reader feel empathy. Can you really abandon those poor kittens to a terrible fate? So what's the emotive language that's used in that sentence? Can you really abandon those poor kittens to a terrible fate? Where's the emotive language?
Abandon.
Good, abandon. Anything else?
Poor.
Poor kittens, good.
Terrible fate.
Good. Good. So emotive language could be the choice of vocabulary. So abandon. So it could be the verbs. So rather than just the word leave, they've chosen abandon. So it's the choice of verb. The poor kittens. So the adjectives. Terrible. So it's your choice of vocabulary of language. And we've got another example there. To make a reader feel anger, the monstrous action devastated the life of an innocent woman. So what's the emotive language that we've used? We can see there.
Innocent.
Good. So she's innocent. She didn't deserve this.
Devastated.
Good. Devastated. Anything else?
Monster.
Monstrous. Good. So the choice of vocabulary there influences how we feel about this woman and what's happened to her. Any questions about emotive language? And can anyone give me an example? Okay, I will give you one. Oh, somebody got one?
Yeah. You
Go on.
ruined the party without saying I'm sorry.
So, did you say you ruined?
Yeah.
So there's a good start. How could we add some more emotive language to this example to increase its impact on the reader? Can anyone suggest what else we could add? So we've got a great start here. You ruined. So you ruined the party, but let's add some vocabulary.
You ruined the party and didn't say sorry to the organizers.
Okay, so instead of organisers, or in front of organisers, what adjective could we add? How did the organisers feel about the party being ruined? So how did the party they've organised has been ruined? How did they feel?
Cheerful.
Cheerful. So would they feel cheerful now the party's ruined?
I'd say horrible. They felt horrible.
No.
They felt
Devastated.
devastated, for example.
Devastated.
I was thinking devastated. It's used here in our second example, the monstrous action devastated. So to the devastated, I've spelled that incorrectly. Let me just go back. So the devastated organisers. So the party has been ruined. They are devastated now. They're devastated because before it was ruined, how was the party going? Like, what kind of party or event was it?
It was great. They were having fun, enjoying themselves.
Yeah. So can we think of a more extreme word than fun? So to make it more emotive.
So you ruined me. You ruined the amazing.
Amazing, good. You ruined the amazing, or we could have wonderful, fantastic, brilliant. You ruined the amazing party and didn't say sorry to the devastated organisers. So can you see there? So we've started off with a good example, but we've added more vocabulary, more adjectives to increase the emotion and get more reaction from the reader. Okay, so try if you look with emotive language, whether you're reading or writing it, you need to look for extreme emotions rather than just fun or happy, devastated, amazing. Okay, so well done, fantastic contributions there. So exaggeration or hyperbole. So hyperbole is a literary term for exaggeration. So it's when a writer overemphasizes something. I am so hungry, I could eat a horse. Okay, so the eating a horse is extreme. It is not something that is ever going to happen because someone's hungry, they're going to eat a whole horse. It is exaggeration or hyperbole. So it has an effect by over-exaggerating. I am starving. So it is rare when someone says, oh, I'm starving. A child, a teenager comes in from school, says they're starving. They're not starving, they're just really hungry. So they're using that exaggeration to express that they're really, really hungry. Oh, I could sleep forever. So the exaggeration there. You're not going to sleep forever. You're just telling people that you're really, really tired. Okay, so can anybody think of any other examples? Okay, so I'll start us off. So one example I thought of, this shopping weighs a ton. So the shopping doesn't weigh a ton, of course, but it's really heavy. So we've used that exaggeration for effect to show that it's really, really heavy. So any other examples?
How about her hair looks like a mermaid?
So her hair looks like a mermaid would be a simile, which is what we're going to come on to in a few minutes. So it's a bit different from hyperbole.
I got one here.
Okay,
I have told you a million times to stop.
excellent. Yeah. So I've told you a million times.
To
Yeah.
stop.
Good. Okay, well done. So repetition. Any questions about hyperbole, exaggeration? So lost my place now. Okay, so metaphor and simile. So we'll come back to the mermaid example that one of you gave us, but let's look at these examples we've already got here. So a metaphor and a simile are similar devices, but there's a slight difference. A metaphor is where one thing is compared to another by saying it is something else. So, for example, this dessert is heaven. Love is a battlefield. So the word like is not featured. We are saying it is something else. So the dessert is not heaven, but it's telling us that it's delicious. Okay. Love is a battlefield. Okay, it's not an actual battlefield, but there's conflict. And a simile compares one thing to another by using the words like a or as a. So we've got some examples here. As clear as mud. She has eyes like a hawk. Okay, so if we take the example, which was a nice visual example of mermaid hair. So she has mermaid hair. Is that a metaphor or a simile?
Metaphor.
Good. How do you know it's a metaphor?
Because you are not comparing with another one.
Well, we're saying that she's got mermaid hair, so she hasn't really got mermaid hair, but we are comparing it to a mermaid, but we're not using the word like or as a. Okay, so she has mermaid hair. I'm imagining she's got long, wavy hair, probably blonde, glistening. So it's a very visual description. How could I change that to simile? So how could I write that sentence comparing her hair to a mermaid, but as a simile instead of a metaphor? What would I write?
Her hair look like a mermaid hair.
Okay, so I'm going to keep the she has. She has hair. Oh. And what am I going to write here?
Like
Good, like a mermaid. Okay, so it's the same image, but this one's a metaphor and the second one is a simile. So if we've got like a or as a, then it's a simile. If we're saying that it's actually the thing we're comparing it to, then it's a metaphor. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, so repetition is the repeating of a word or phrase for emphasis. We can't win this game. We can win, start again. We can win this game. We can win this match. We can win this tournament. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I can't even breathe. Recycle glass, recycle plastic, recycle cardboard. So in each example, the repetition is used to emphasize the idea. So of winning, of someone, the negativity someone is feeling, they can't do those things, and the recycling message. So can anyone give us another example?
Yeah, home sweet home.
Good. Let me just write that on. So home sweet home. Any other examples?
Time after time.
Excellent. Okay. Any questions about repetition? Okay. So rhetorical questions. These are questions used in texts which are not intended to be answered. It's used to make the reader think or engage with the text. They can be used in speech as well. You'll often hear them. They don't require an answer, but they're used to make people think. Do dogs bark? So, of course they do. Everybody knows that. It's just saying that something is definitely true. So, yeah. Okay, so somebody says, is that true? And the person replies, do dogs bark? So yes, it's definitely true. Do you want world poverty to end? So nobody would say no to that question. I wouldn't have thought. But it's to make people think. How should I know? So we'll hear that a lot in speech. People don't really want an explanation of why they should know because they were already told many, many times, but they are using that for effect to say that they shouldn't be expected to know. So can anyone think of any more examples of rhetorical questions?
Can birds fly?
Yeah. Can birds fly? Good. Any others?
Can lion roar?
Yeah. The one example I always think people are familiar with is what a parent might say to a teenager, or somebody might say to their partner when they come home late. What time do you call this? So it's not meant to be answered. Oh, it's 12:20. It's somebody saying it's really late. Okay. So any questions about rhetorical questions? Okay, well done. The rule of three. And this is when consecutive words or phrases are used for effect. So we often see these in fact, we see them in lots of places, in literature, in poetry, also used in information campaigns or advertising. So I came, I saw, I conquered. So I think that's from Shakespeare. So a literary effect, the repetition, the rhythm of it. Stop, look, and listen. So that's from public information campaign about crossing the road from quite a number of years ago. That easy to remember, especially for children. It was aimed at children, about when you get to the side of the road and you want to cross, you stop, you look around, look both ways, and you listen for any vehicle. So easy to remember, that rhythm. So as I mentioned, often used in advertising or information campaigns because it's easy to remember. Stop, look, listen. And then the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So you can hear the rhythm in it, and that makes it easy to remember and has that, it's kind of a poetic effect on people. So any questions or any examples? So what about when someone's starting a race? What do people say to start a race or to start an event?
Get ready, get set, go.
Good. Get ready, get set, go. Okay. Any other examples?
Location, location.
So this is, it does apply the rule of three there, the repetition, the rhythm, but it's also repetition of the same word. So it's two things there. Any others?
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Excellent example. Yeah, the good. Good. Well done.
Mind,
any questions?
body,
Go on.
spirit.
Pardon?
Mind, body, spirit.
Excellent. Yeah. Good. Well done. Really good examples.
How about leave, love, and learn, or something like that?
Yeah, that you see that a lot these days, don't you? Is it live,
Yeah.
laugh, love?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's happened to me. Let me try again. So also with that live, laugh, love, we've also got the alliteration there. Each word starts with the same sound. So we've got the rule of three, but we've also got alliteration. And you will find that with many of these devices that they might be. So positive and negative language. So this can be used to lead the reader in the direction they wish, the writer wishes, by using strong adjectives or making comparisons. So an author of a novel, they want you to have a certain opinion about a particular character. Then they will use adjectives to lead you to a certain way of thinking. Okay, so you might read about a sly character, the sly Mr. Brown, for example. So they're leading us to think a certain way about that character. And you'll also see this in news reporting, which always really shows bias one way or the other. So we've got an example here. Alison Humphreys would make an imperious Prime Minister. Exval Industries had made an egregious error. Look at the standard of living now in contrast to that of the 1970s. And the average consumer is quidsing. So any questions about the positive and negative language there? So Alison Humphreys would make an imperious Prime Minister. So arrogant. Masterful. So it's suggesting that this person would be an arrogant Prime Minister. So it's negative. An egregious error, a terrible, appalling error. So any questions about that, or you can give me an example. We've actually got, oh, that's from a different page. I'm not sure why that's appeared there. Let's get rid of it. So any examples of positive and negative language? So as here, often it's going to be an adjective.
Can I try?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The manners of present day youths is quite different from manners back then in the olden days.
So rather than saying is different to, should we put in contrast to? The manners of present day youth contrasts dramatically with the manners of the youth in the past. Okay, so it's just adds that we're assuming that's negative. Okay, so using strong vocabulary, strong adjectives. Okay, well done. Any other examples? Okay, So any questions? Okay, so let's see what we've can remember now. So we've got the features, some of the features we've looked at on the left: metaphor, alliteration, command, simile, rhetorical question, and then we've got some examples on the right that we want to match up. So to have some extra text there, I'm not sure where that's come from. Okay, so as light as a feather. Is it metaphor, alliteration, command, simile, or a rhetorical question?
Simile.
Good. Oops. Just hold on. Good, it's a simile. Can't you do anything right?
Rhetorical question.
Excellent. His room was a prison.
A metaphor.
It is good, yeah. Come here now.
Come on.
Good, well done. And the last one, a sinister smile spread across his face.
That's an alliteration.
Good, we've got that repeated. Oh, that repeated S sound. I think I've pointed one to the wrong place, haven't I? Yeah, come here now. Should be there. And then we've got alliteration. Good. So a sinister smile spread across his face. So we've got that repeated S sound. Well done. Okay, and we can match these. I'm not, I keep. So again, what is this an example of? It's going to be fun, fun, fun. Is it repetition, exaggeration, direct address, cliche, or emotive language? Pardon?
Repetition.
Repetition, good. So this is madness.
Exaggeration.
Good. So I think we've just straight across for all of these, aren't we? You will love our delicious breakfast is direct address. It's raining cats and dogs. It's cliche. And then the final one, the victims were subjected to a cowardly assault, emotive language. Okay. So presentation features. So we've not got if I appreciate we're at 10 o'clock now, nearly 5 past. So if anyone does need to leave, that's fine. You can catch up with the end of the recording next week. So if you need to leave, that's absolutely fine, I understand. But we'll just be a few more minutes. So presentation features form part of the way text is structured, which includes statistics, diagrams, tables, and text boxes, pictures, captions, headings, subheadings, bullet points, numbered lists, and website menus. So statistics, diagrams, tables, and charts will often give numerical information in a small space, so it allows you to visualize the numerical information. They should have a title, so we can see there in the left-hand example, the population of London. They may have a key or labels to help you understand the information. Images can be included, which might be a drawing or a photograph which illustrates the content. And the label underneath is called a caption. So if we imagine there was a news story about the Titanic Exhibition Centre in Belfast, and they've illustrated that with a picture of the exhibition centre. So it helps the reader to visualise what they are reading about. Headings are sometimes called titles, and they're at the start of the text to tell the reader what the text is about. And then we have smaller headings known as subheadings, which can be seen within the text to show different sections, particularly in articles or in a leaflet as well. You would often see these subheadings. Lists. So bullet points are used to draw attention to important information within a document, and a reader can then identify key issues and facts quickly. And numbered lists are used as well, usually when the items in the list need to be understood in the order they are placed in. So, and recipe is a great example because we can often have the ingredients bullet pointed in a list, followed by the method in its numbered steps. So obviously they're numbered in a recipe because it's important you do them in that order. Website menus help you to find your way around the website, telling you which section or page to click to find the details that you need. So I'm sure we're all familiar with these features. As you can see at the top, section titles. You might get sidebars with links to different pages. And often as well, there's a search function. So if you can't immediately see what you want in the titles on the section titles, then you can search for it. So sometimes writers use text features to draw your attention to different parts of the text. And these might include subheadings. Just a minute, sorry about that. So subheadings help you to identify topics, where to find them as you skim and scan a text. So if you're looking for specific information, you can read the subheadings and find it quickly. Different fonts show different topics, or that something is important or interesting. So often seen in magazine articles, in leaflets, in advertising. With an event poster, for example, they might have different fonts for an explanation of what the event is, and then the details such as the time, place, date, and so on might be in a different font to draw attention to it. Using bold and using italics show that a word is important and possibly even that it's in a glossary. So you can go and look it up at the back of the book. Bullet points, they bring key points to your attention, can be used for lists, and numbering also for lists show the order of things, and we often see these in instructions such as the recipe. That was the example. So any questions about those features? Okay, so how does a diagram help the reader? So why would a writer put a diagram in their text? So it would help the reader to gain a better understanding by the drawing or illustration that shows or explains something. graphs and charts, how do these help? Anyone want to suggest?
To show a better understanding of portions.
Of
It gives that.
Portions.
Sorry, I can't hear the last word you're saying. A better understanding.
Portion.
Portions.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so it's numerical information. Yeah. So it helps us understand numerical or data. It helps us to understand that information more easily. We can visualize it. Images. Well, how do they help the reader?
It has to let you understand what it means.
Yeah, it helps you understand what you're reading about by showing you what something looks like. Good. Captions. Or where would you find the caption? So caption is under a photograph or picture, and it helps you understand what it is. So it might, if it's a picture of a person, it might say the person's name. If it was a picture of a building, it would tell you what the building is, what it's called. Labels help to identify what an image, map, graph, or what their part is showing us. So any questions there? Okay, so we're nearly finished now, so let's check our understanding. What is the main purpose of a text? So if you're asked that question, what are you looking for? The language of a text, how a text is set out, the detail in a text, or the reason a text is written?
I'll say A, the language of the text.
So the language of a text is how it is presented, how it's written, but what's its main purpose?
The reason of the test.
Yeah, it's the why. Okay, so the reason it's written, what's its main purpose? The reason. So the main purpose is it to inform, to entertain, to persuade, to explain. Why is it written? So what is a language feature? The way language is used in a text to achieve an effect, spelling, the main aim of a text, or the structure. What is a language feature?
D.
So D is about the structure of the text rather than the language. So it's not D in this case.
It's A.
It is A, yes. So a language feature is the way language is used in a text to achieve an effect. What is a presentation feature? So when we're talking about the presentation, how it looks, paragraphs, the words on the page, the way a text, what the text is about, or the way a text is set out on a page. So we're thinking about how it looks when we're talking about presentation.
Paragraph.
So paragraphs are part of it. So we can see when we look if it's been divided into paragraphs.
I think the way the
Okay,
test on the page.
Yeah, I think you're both saying the same thing there. So
Yeah.
the way the text is set out on a page, so paragraphs would be part of that, but you may also have things like the headings, subheadings, text boxes, illustrations or images. Okay, so presentation feature is the way it's set out on the page. So there we go, we've come to the end for today. So well done, everybody. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, you can use Moodle to do some practice activities. If you log in, you can get your login from the office on Monday if you don't already have one. Thank you for your contributions. It always makes for a better session when people contribute so well. So well done, everybody, and thank you. And hopefully I will see you tomorrow for our writing session. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.